Hey everybody, Ramey here. Just coming live today. I want to talk about a few things. Usually I've been, trying to do this every week, come and just talk about different issues. And there's so much happening this week, like tons of stuff is happening. So let's see, just let me make sure I'm all set up here. There we go. All right, so tons of new stuff happening. Wow, so let's see. So I was asked a couple questions this week. There's a cool new technology being released that I'm kind of excited about, at least excited to play around with. And there's some news in the gaming world that I want to talk about just a little bit. Okay, so let's see. So first of all, let's talk about gaming news. So I'm not a politics person whatsoever. But as you know, there have been some mass shootings lately. Obviously, very sad, terrible thing. Totally don't want to talk about them whatsoever. But they've had some impacts on the gaming industry, mostly because there are some politicians out there who have said, kind of blamed gaming for the violence, or at least maybe as a culprit or something like that, or contributed to. And if that were true, I would be really, I would be all for figuring out how to solve that issue, but that's not my thing. But there have been a lot of talk about, video games and violence and kind of the stuff it brings about and problems with that. As soon as I hear that, I'm taken back to the 80s. If you don't remember, Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore, I believe, and a bunch of politicians were accusing rock and roll artists of causing hate and violence and stuff. And obviously, throughout time, we realized, and through numerous research studies out there, that violence in video games are not linked. Violence in rock and roll music wasn't linked. Maybe someone who has violent tendencies can use that, but it doesn't cause it. It's not causing people to commit crimes or anything like that. So I think it's a really important topic to talk about, especially as you consider your kids playing different video games, what their ratings are and stuff, what's appropriate versus not appropriate. Do video games cause violence? No. Are there things that are inappropriate for kids of certain ages in video games? Absolutely. So something you need to watch out for. Leads me to my next topic, which is kids in video games. So I did a couple videos on and have talked about, a few games, like, is Fortnite appropriate for children? Is Roblox appropriate for children? And I have a bunch of recommendations for parents. I'm going to do a whole video where I just talk about cybersecurity for children because it's a big issue and there are a bunch of layers to it. But one of the main layers is just monitoring your children's games. It's really, really tough for parents to monitor what their kids are watching and playing. So I just have a few tips. So some of the tips I have, so I have 3 kids who are all playing this stuff. So I get to not only learn about people doing it, but I'm practicing this. Me and my wife are practicing this 24/7. So we have a few rules with my kids about games. I'm talking about restrictions or anything, but one of the things we do is we have to approve every new game or app they want to use. So, if you're not familiar with Roblox is like thousands of games in one. So for Roblox, it's like every time they want to play a new one, or every time they want to play a new game, what I do is I look up the game. I do, first of all, in 30 seconds, Google search, you can find out if it's appropriate for kids or not, because other people have probably looked up that same game. So that's first line of defense. Quick Google search, 30 seconds, I can possibly eliminate the game. If not, okay, we passed the quick Google search. I'm going to look at the game really quick. I look at the description. I might be able to eliminate it right there. Like, hey, there's some stuff not really appropriate for my child in this description. Okay, that can tell me right there. I can just look at the rating, the description. That tells me stuff. Then, if it's still good, all that seems good, I'm going to go in and play the game. I might play the game with my son, or I might just play it myself, give it like a solid 10 minutes, kind of get a feel for what I've looked it up in Google. I've read the description now. I've looked at the ratings, reviews. And now I'm going to give it 10 minutes. And honestly, in that time, I can figure out if this game is appropriate for my kid or not. And have a pretty good idea if I want them to play it or not. So that's like the big defense you've got. There are tons of other cybersecurity issues, which I'll talk about another time, not for today. But I did just want to talk about that because of the whole violence thing and about the violence thing. So like it is affecting games right now. So if you haven't heard, Walmart is taking down game displays. What's ironic about that is they're taking down, and from what I've read, and this isn't something I've researched, the whole Walmart thing, but basically from what I read in the news is that Walmart took down games displays for like, I don't know, any kind of game like Fortnite, Call of Duty, that kind of stuff. Which is interesting. It's an interesting way to respond. I'm glad they're at least responding in some way, except that they're responding in a way that I don't think makes a difference or has any kind of impact, which is just kind of strange. ESPN has pulled the Apex Legends tournament. Apex Legends is basically a game very similar to Fortnite. You're on an island and you survive, you find weapons, and your goal is to eliminate all the other teams. ESPN is not going to show the tournament for another month or two, so they've postponed it, which is, some things are happening, but I get like things are sensitive in the news and you can't push things. But it's a really interesting topic, and I'm going to do some like solid just videos on this topic when, just on gaming and violence, kids and cybersecurity for kids and stuff like that, because I think those are really important topics for parents to take a look at. And I think people want some statistics about gaming and violence. I have some good statistics I want to talk about and bring up to people. So that's like some stuff that's been happening in the news in the last week or in the last weekend even, just happening and right now, here and now, that we're seeing immediately. So let's talk about some cool things that are happening now. Besides, let's get rid of the negative energy. Negative energy gone. Negative energy gone. Let's get some positive energy here. Some good flow. Some nice positive energy. Okay, so some cool stuff. So Adobe is releasing a new app called Adobe Fresco, which I'm really excited about. So what Fresco is going to do is going to allow you it's supposed to be more realistic as far as painting goes, which I'm really, really excited about. For those of you that don't know, I love art. I'm an artist. You always see, like, whenever I have my videos, like, you can, if you're watching this and not listening right now, you can see a painting in the background. You can always see I've got like lots of colors going on, and I'm big into color. I love painting. I love painting lots of color, like blue fluorescence, like fluorescent blue and fluorescent yellow and fluorescent pink. Maybe colors other people think are ugly. That's fine. I really like them, so I love painting them. So you always see paintings in the background if you're watching me ever. So I'm really excited to see what Adobe Fresco is like, because supposedly it makes painting look it's supposed to function a lot more like a realistic painter. So, you can paint in Photoshop and Illustrator and other software out there. And honestly, like, I've never been a big fan of any kind of computer graphic art whatsoever. I'm a painter. I like having the paints in front of me. I like drawing. I like painting. I just love it. I love constructing things. If I could do that digitally, it would be awesome, because I think that there are, I want to try some things and different, and, using my paints are very expensive. So I think it could be cool, but it's never felt realistic. Adobe Fresco, the point is that it's supposed to feel more realistic. I'll review it when it happens and when it comes out, but hey, I'm excited. I mean, it's cool. Like, they're trying something. They're trying to, I'm glad to see companies like innovating and trying some cool things. So will it be cool? I don't know. I mean, I'll play with it on my iPad and see what it's like. But hey, here's the hoping, like, for good things, And I'm always hoping for good things. I was asked a question in a Facebook group. This was my alumni, actually. One of my new students actually asked this question. So, a new instructional designer was wondering about, like, well, how does an instructional designer get a project management certificate, or how does that work? Because some jobs require it, right? Like, we require this PM certificate. So how does that work for an instructional designer? So there are a few certificates out there that I think are good for people interested in project management who want to get into the field, get a certification, and really do something with it. Get a job as a project manager, make more money, which is always, always, always a good thing. It never hurts to have a little more cash flow. So the first certificate that I recommend to students is the CAPM, Certified Associate Project Management Professional, CAPM. And basically, in order to get the so these are all from PMI, Project Management Institute. CAPM is really simple. You have to just take a project management course and then you're qualified. So any of my master students, when they take my project management course, are able to go get the certificate. Obviously, you have to pay for the test. And I recommend, even though we cover PMBOK, I recommend they study extensively for the test and make sure that they're prepared for it and go in and take the test and you have a CAPM. And it is a good certificate to have. I do like it. It's, when the certificate first came out like 10 or so odd years ago, no one had really heard about it. I talked to a couple project managers, and when I said, hey, what do you think of the CAPM? They were like, what do we think of the what? But now, maybe like after a few years, PMI did a good job of marketing it, because when I started talking to PMs maybe like 5 to 7 years ago, they were like, oh, yeah, CAPM. And I'm starting to see it on job descriptions for project managers. So nice little certificate to have. Now, the big king of project management certifications, as everyone knows, the most common, I should say, is the PMP, Project Management Professional. Now, that's the certificate I recommend anyone will get interested in PM. But the thing is, you have to have a significant number of hours managing projects in order to get that. So a lot of students can't just go ahead and get the PMP. I have had students that have the experience and have went ahead and got the PMP. But most of them that were interested all went ahead, and I don't require the CAPM certificate, but when a student's interested in it or asks about it, I definitely recommend it. So I think it's a great, nice certificate to have, and you should go ahead and get it. Yeah, so that's basically all the big news that's happened over the last week, the different things in tech and instructional design and stuff that I'm interested in. But I'll be back. I hopefully should be back later this week, because I'm starting my semester. We don't actually start classes for another week, but I have some meetings this week. And one of the things I'm going to do is, I've been talking about this eSports lab that I'm putting together. So I'm really excited to go, and I don't think the lab is done, because one of the walls I'm painting chroma green, so the whole wall is going to be a green screen. So I don't think I'm there just yet. I don't think we have the room painted, but all the tech is there, and I'm going to start setting it up. So I'm going to have some cool pictures. I'm going to post them on my Facebook page and the Facebook page for my program, and I'll show them in some videos and stuff. I'm definitely going to do a video of the room. Also, my eSports club, which I'm really excited about on campus, which I'm the advisor of, and some of my students are the board members for it. We are going to meet this week. We're going to have our first meeting just to kind of start to get ready and prepared for the semester. So I'm really excited about that. Lots of cool things happening in my university in esports this semester. So I'm really, it's kind of funny. It's like when I talk to people about the esports thing, they're like, well, what are you guys doing, or why would you want to do this? And I'm like, if I could figure out how to play video games as a job, I'm like, that would be the coolest thing ever. Now, if you hate video games, that's not cool, and it would be terrible. But I've been playing video games since I was 3 years old. In fact, this fall, so in a week and a half, I'm starting a video game course. And I mentioned this prior, but if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm posting a bunch of gaming videos right now that I'm prepping for my gaming course. So if you're not taking my gaming course, because you're going to watch them in there, you'll get to watch them on my YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Otherwise, yeah, I'm excited for the new semester to kind of get going. This week's going to be busy, but I'm definitely going to be back this week to talk about my esports lab that's being built. So stay tuned. Thank you. Bye.